We all have emotions and think about things. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it.
Hi, welcome to Emotional and Mental Justice. I'm Yuna. I'm joined today by my beautiful cousin, Michelle Madex, or sometimes known as Shelly. I'm super excited to have you here today. How are you?
I'm really good. Happy to be here.
Good.
I always feel it's great to have these type of conversations and just, open up. So yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So firstly, I want to thank you actually for joining me today and actually just being open to sharing. When I thought about doing this, you're one of the first people I thought about calling and saying, you know what? Michelle likes to share. She likes to empower women. She likes to empower people. And so thank you.
I'm really glad.
Okay, so this show today is about self-esteem and, self-worth. And I know that we've had a conversation in the past about the fact that you've been through some real things in your life.
Yeah. Exactly.
I'll touch upon a few topics such as eating disorders or not really loving yourself and, but when we talked about it, we never went into detail.
No, we didn't.
I think it was actually over WhatsApp.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It was over WhatsApp and, texting back and forth and, just realizing that, hold on, these are actually issues that girls go through, and we have to be able to empower our youth. So, yeah, I'm all for it. I'm all for
Good.
Having an open conversation.
Yes,
yeah.
Good. And I know that you mentioned that this all started when you were quite young, maybe in your teens or earlier. I don't know. So maybe you could just share with me what you would like to share.
Yeah, no, definitely. So my concept of self-worth and self-image is how I see myself as an individual. My self-evaluation of myself. It's not what the next person thinks of me or the next girl or the next man. It's how I see myself. But I only realized that when I was, older. Now, being a twin.
Yes, of course, you're a twin.
Exactly. Being a twin, I think that's where some of my confidence issues started very early on because as a twin, you're never seen as an individual.
Okay.
You're born as a twin, so you're referred to as the twins.
Yeah.
When people see you, they automatically compare you. Who's taller than the other, who's smarter than the other, who's more intelligent than the other. So it kind of sets a sibling rivalry.
Okay, and actually, to be honest, growing up, we did call you the twins. We knew you as the twins.
Exactly. But it's not seeing, a person as, hold on, this is Michelle, and that's Michael. You see, it's always the twins. And I remember when my parents used to call us to have a bath, because, when you're young, you bath together. They'd be like, Mitch Mike.
Oh.
So even then, it's a joint
You
name.
merged into one.
Exactly. So I think very early on, I started competing with my twin brother because we were set to compete. It's who's going to run first down the stairs. So I was never really an individual, and I think as well being dressed the same way, even if it's different clothes, it's somehow matching.
Okay.
So I always had, well, I say not always, but as I grew up, I had a desperate need to find who I was as an individual. And I guess being that I've lived in Zambia, Zimbabwe, South Africa a little bit, and moved to the UK, that also affected my identity as a person.
It's a lot of moving around.
A lot of moving around, different schools, different cultural mixes.
And having to adapt. There we go. And that's why we're cousins.
Exactly. Having to adapt. So my self-esteem issues really blew up. It was bad enough, like being a twin is nice, but it's the comparison game. But I already struggled with that, and then moving to London, completely different cultural shock. So I went to a predominantly white school. Nothing wrong with that, but it's more so that the white girls in that school were so obsessed with a certain type of body image, and I don't want to say everyone because that wouldn't be right, but it was a trend back then. You know, certain groups, pop groups were trending, and those being petite was a thing.
So that was the body type.
That was the body type. So, you know, for me, being a black girl with curves, even whilst I was a teenager, body image issues kicked in. I want to be skinny.
How old were you by then? I know you said teenager, roughly.
Yeah,
How old?
16.
Okay, so fairly young, and you're at the stage in your life where actually a lot of changes are happening.
Exactly.
And you want to become this young woman, young lady quite early, and you know, 16 is a very crucial age.
Exactly. Yeah, no, definitely. And I felt like, you know what, I want to be skinny and petite, cute, like, you know, Cheryl Cole was popping back then, you know. I want to be like one of the girls in the Spice Girls, you know, and I know it's good to have idols, but it's not good to obsess over an idol to the point that you want to look
be
like them, you want to be them, because you know you are unique in your being, and
because that can be unhealthy, because actually we can't be someone we're not.
No,
we can fake it until the end, but never actually get there.
Exactly. You know, so I started going on these crazy diets. I would eat once a day just to be skinny.
Wow.
And I would really try and suppress my weight, and I would be running 10 kilometers. You know, I really hated having a bum.
Eating once a day?
Yeah, eating
wow.
once a day.
And at what point in the day would you eat, and how would you manage that?
As long as I ate once a day, it could be in the evening, and I'd just drink water. The thing about the human body is you know, our bodies adapt to what we do.
What we allow it to do.
Exactly. So if you were a heroin addict and you didn't eat much, you know, your body would adapt to that, to the point that if you do eat, you will feel sick from eating.
Yeah, but then we don't feel the effects, the true effects of what's happening
over
underneath.
Time.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Wow.
So I'd eat once a day. I would run 10 kilometers. I was so desperate to be skinny. That's one. Secondly, I really, really hated my lips. I would look in the rearview mirror of my dad's car and think, damn, I have huge lips. I've got these big lips, you know, and I'll think, are my lips big like Jay-Z? Or like, I just felt like my lips were overwhelmingly massive, and I would do these funny, you know, faces in the mirror trying to reduce the size of my lips, and if they were thinner, what would I look like?
So you were trying to be like the girls that you had come to know in your school. You mentioned the white girls. You're obviously coming from an African country. You're coming here and you're trying to, you know, conform to what society wants you to conform to, and it sounds like a very difficult time.
I mean, and I'd say, looking back, it's hindsight. That's the thing about life, it's hindsight. So looking back, I think, wow, I was so lost. I really didn't know who I was.
And you were so young.
Exactly. But back then, I didn't really see it like that. I knew I had low self-esteem, low confidence. And unfortunately, the problem with having low self-esteem and low confidence, if you're not confident in a room full of people, you know, if you don't love yourself, it then leads to unhealthy relationships with guys. You know, it leads to a whole bunch of other problems. You know, it can lead to your performance in school dropping, and this is exactly what was happening because I didn't love myself. Ended up getting in wrong situations. Ended up, you know, doing badly, performing badly in school because I lacked the confidence.
Or your focus was on something else, as opposed to on your studies and on, you know, trying to make good of your life and form good relationships.
Exactly.
I just want to go back to something that you said just now, you know, about your body. And you also mentioned that looking back now, you think, wow, I was really lonely at the time. I was really, you know, lost. That was the word you used. I look at you now. You're a lovely, beautiful, curvaceous woman.
Thank you.
you have a booty that I know you love.
Thank you. Yeah.
You have beautiful lips, and the lip thing, I know, like, it goes back, way back to slave trade and to you know, being black and having big lips and it not being attractive. And we all know about, you know, history, or for some of us do know about the history. And you know, you were going through the things at 16 years old that people went through decades and decades ago. That must have been tough, and without realizing, I'm guessing that, you know, your ancestors have been through this.
You know, and to that point, like, I see where you're coming from, but it's more so, did our ancestors more so have, you know, maybe they didn't have freedom. Maybe that was the huge issue. But in terms of self-esteem issues, I'm not sure how much they felt that. They could have felt, you know, they may have felt a certain way from not being free, and more so, you know, that was their issue. But in today's society, with the height of the media and the role that the media plays, so we have Twitter, we have Instagram, we have magazines, we're exposed to so much, and it's like you open the front, you know, we have the TV.
It's constantly changing.
It's constantly, yeah, and you know, you on Instagram, you're like, damn, how come her body is so perfect? How come so many girls' bodies are so perfect? You open a magazine, geez, she's flawless. It takes time to realize that, hold on, not everything you see is real. You know, there's a lot of filters, there's
Absolutely.
a lot of Photoshop, there's surgery.
Absolutely, and even just with the simple things like Snapchat, there's a Snapchat app that you get to choose which filter you want before you take the photograph. And I took a photograph of myself recently, and I mean, I looked amazing. Not that I think I don't look amazing. Thank you. But this picture, I just looked flawless. I mean, I was like a movie star, and it was just because of the filter.
Wow.
And you know, when I took it on, because I don't have Snapchat, I took it on my friend's phone. Taking the same picture on my phone just to compare, actually, and I remember us doing that, and it was like you could actually see the real me, and then you could see the filtered me, and this is what society is giving us today, and causing these issues that young girls have, even older women have.
And it's more so, can you accept the real you? You know, can you upload a natural picture of yourself, strip down the filters, strip down, you know, all the lighting and whatnot? You start to sometimes live in this illusion and this bubble without even realizing it. So, you know, for me, I think, being that I'm 29 years old, I did grow up at a certain time. There was no Facebook. There was no, you know, there may have been high five, but that was just even
that was so
merging.
minimal. Exactly. I remember that time,
you know. But now it's like, whoa, you know, you see girls like stunting on the gram, like, you know, posting pic after pic, you know, everything on fleek, you know, and also the likes game, you know, how many likes
can I get for this photograph?
Exactly. And, you know, the pressures that come with that. But I always feel like when it boils down to self-esteem is not how many likes you have on social media, because likes it's just like monopoly money. It's not tangible.
And some of the people that are liking you don't actually know you. Yeah.
You know, but my mantra is to try and live a life that, you know, whereby I'm true to myself, be as real to myself and as true to myself as possible, and I try and live by that. So, you know, back to the body image issue. You know, it was bad enough that I was already not confident, you know, wanting to have a, you know, slimmer frame and thinner lips and whatnot. And what I want to touch on is that's why trends are called trends, because it goes up and down. 1 minute it's popping, the next minute it's
dropping. It's popping and it's dropping.
Exactly, popping and dropping. I like that. Yeah. And that's the thing about trends. You know, 1 minute is popping, next minute is dropping. And the problem is, I think back and I say, wow, imagine if I went through, because there are girls in places all over the world, like Korea, Brazil, that are under pressure from a young age to have surgery. Imagine if I went for liposuction to have all the fat sucked out of my bum, and I had a lip reduction. I was actually researching that.
Were you looking into that?
Yeah, I was looking into.
Yeah, so it was serious.
Having my lips reduced in size, and imagine if I had done that. And then years later, the very thing you were fighting against, everybody wants.
And it's the thing that you love now, is that correct?
Exactly. It's the thing that I love now, you know, and, you know, people, nothing wrong with it. I think you should do what makes you happy by all means. But people inject their lips. But I think like you linked the point of slavery before, and you said a lot of these things is linked back to slavery. So, you know, I do get where you're coming from in the sense that certain cartoons as well, you had Fat Albert, where the drawings are just so
hey.
Exactly. Like, why do black people have to look so hideous?
Yeah, they actually were drawn in a certain way.
In a certain way, with the big lips and the you know the big nose and whatnot. And not every black person
looks like that. Wow, I haven't thought about Fat Albert in a long time.
You could be like Jordan Dunn and have absolutely slim features.
Absolutely.
Black comes in various forms.
Yeah, humanity comes in various forms. So, yeah. But,
black cartoons were always portrayed a certain way. So, you know, all these things impact your self-esteem. It's exposure can be really, as much as it's good and it enlightens you, but at the same time, the more you're exposed to, that can also be damaging, you know. So, yeah.
So back to the 16-year-old girl that you were at this time, going through these things. Did you have anybody you spoke to about these things? Someone to support you through it?
No, I mean, my way of dealing with it at the time was because this is the thing. Okay, when I was 16, I had moved to the UK, moved to London. But if I trace a few years before I was 16, so when I was 13 or 14, because I already had self-esteem issues. Some of my issues stemmed from the boys in the class. You know, they would class the girls like, these are the A crowd, these are the girls that are, pretty. So you had the pretty crowds and the girl gangs, and I just wasn't that girl. I had pimples, back acne on my face. I had braces. So
a lot of the natural things, people going through puberty and just after that teenagers go through, and a lot of teenagers go through. You were obviously facing that, but you were also faced with girls who were perhaps more ideal to the boys in the class.
Exactly, more ideal, and immediately if you weren't classed as the A crowd, then you just wasn't popping. So that's what it was. And then, to answer your question, was I speaking to people about it? No, my way of masking all that was by trying to be popular, trying to hang out with the pretty girl, or at least if I can just get a pretty girl from the pretty crowd to like me, maybe. So funny enough, I've always had really good people skills. So I was I don't want to call myself ugly, but at the time that's how I felt.
That's how you felt.
Yeah. I felt like the ugly girl hanging out in the pretty girls clique, because I could get them to like me. I could bring things to school for them to accept me and to just like me,
So did you genuinely feel at the time that you didn't belong there in their group?
100%,
and you were just ugly girl trying to be in the pretty girls clique, and so you're in a place where you don't actually belong?
Yeah, no, definitely. And that's exactly how I felt, like, okay, I'm the ugly girl, but like I said, I had my ways of wooing people and getting them to like me. So even if I felt that way, and I wasn't put, or I wasn't ever classed as a pretty girl by the same guys that would class these chicks as all that. I had my way of getting people to like me, and when I managed to get into that group, it kind of helped me mask a lot of things, and I can't explain why. But maybe it's acceptance. Maybe it's the idea of acceptance. Yeah.
Did you understand at the time, sorry, just to get away from what you were just about to say about acceptance, did you understand at the time that the skill that you had was actually a great quality? Did you identify that in yourself whilst you were doing it?
No. I never thought of my skill to
be able to get people on your side, or join, get people to like you. Did you see that as a skill? Like, what, no. I can be tactical, I can do this.
Today I see it as a skill, because I'm confident today.
Yeah.
But I definitely, and it's not me just saying it. I mean, I have had people comment on that, that, you are very much a people's person, and you can speak to anybody regardless of their position or their status or whatever.
I can definitely agree with that, you know, knowing
from you know, living in different communities under different circumstances. You know, it's not something that can be bought. You know, it's from just, you know, living in different
you've
countries.
learned, you know, you've picked up things from here and from there, and I can definitely, you know, agree with the fact that you have got these people skills. You are just able to talk to people. So that's I'm just quite shocked at hearing all this stuff, because I didn't realize the extent to how you felt so ugly, felt so alone, felt like you know, and I didn't realize it went as far back as from being a twin, you know, being compared at that young toddler age perhaps. It's serious stuff.
And I think it's also back to the concept, like, this is the thing, my parents are amazing parents, you know, to put that on record. My mom, my dad, they've worked so hard, you know, moved countries to get me to where I am today. I truly have to give it to them.
Absolutely.
And the way that they were brought up is different to, you know, the way that maybe some younger parents may have been brought up. So maybe being from a certain time, they didn't really speak to their children in a certain type of way, you know. So I think sometimes, but I think today we live in a society where we're more knowledgeable, more informed.
Absolutely.
So, you know, parents today have the tools. It's also having the correct tools. They have the tools to be great parents at what they do. And like I said, my parents were great parents, but their upbringing was different.
They're from a different generation, a different time. And I think to add to that, I think because we come from the same place, you know, being Zambia, Zimbabwe, I think it also comes with the being African. I can't speak for every African country, but I can speak for Zambia, Zimbabwe, kind of the places we've come from. It's not a thing that we do, like with your father or your mother necessarily, and to necessarily talk to each other about deep feelings and deep emotions. Those are things that you just suffer alone. And I don't know why. But that is just a society.
And sometimes it's also the barriers because of the way you're brought up. You know, today we want the children of today's generation to be able to talk to their parents about anything.
To be free.
If you have a boy that you like, you should be able to tell your mom. But you know, with that type of upbringing, it was like, oh, there's a certain topic
you just can't. Absolutely.
This is just something I have to keep quiet.
It's
because my
taboo.
mom said no boys.
No boys. And when she said no boys, it was not just no boys, that kind of thing. It was that look.
Touch them, you will get pregnant.
Absolutely, yes. So it's the look they give you, it's the seriousness, that mummy look that you know that you just do not mess with this.
Exactly.
No boys, and you never discuss it. And it comes with the society, it comes with the parenting, it comes with our parents' generation. I understand that.
Exactly. So, you know, that as well, you know, because you did touch on who do you speak to. But the thing is, who do you speak to when you're living a fake life? Because your life, nobody is understanding the things that you're going through. You don't even understand yourself. You don't even know yourself. And nobody can love you or understand you if you don't know, love, or understand yourself. So who do you speak to? Because number one, you're closed up with your parents because of that, you know,
generational thing we've just talked about.
You know, with your friends, the type of friends you're hanging around with is not a real relationship
because you're forcing yourself to be in their circle.
Exactly. So who do you turn to?
Who do you turn to? And also, I can only imagine, maybe I'm wrong, correct me, that you were embarrassed to be going through that. You were ashamed, and even if you were possibly in a position to tell somebody, you probably would have chosen not to. Is that correct, or would you have spoken out?
No, I wouldn't have spoken out because you see, I didn't know this then, but there's that concept of faking it till you make it. I wasn't trying to make it, but I was just faking it. That's the problem.
To get through every day.
And hoping that one day the problems would go away, that my acne would go away. But all I really needed was someone to tell me that, you know, because today I don't have acne today. all I needed, my back is clear, my skin is clear, my teeth are straight.
Mm-hmm.
All I needed was for someone to tell me one day
It's going to be okay.
You're going through a stage, you're growing into a woman. It's a bit of a harsh process.
Yes. Who do you think is that person that could have told you this? I know that we'd say our parents are the people that should talk to us, or in this generation at least that we're in now. But knowing what you knew, that your parents couldn't or wouldn't because of the fact of what we've just discussed, the generational thing. Who do you think could have or should have told you that?
Yeah, and it's back to, family dynamics as well, in the sense that I have a beautiful relationship with my big sister. But then the age gap, you see, so being the last born in the family, by the time I was born, she was already clubbing.
Okay.
She was at the clubbing stage.
Yeah.
So she's not going to have time for, and when I was in my early teenage years, she just got married. You see, so she was on her own wave.
Yeah.
So it's more so, who do you tell, and are you open enough to tell those people, or do you even think about telling those people? Because I don't think I ever thought to myself, who can I tell about the way I'm feeling? But I really suffered from, it was a dark place.
It was a lonely, sad, lonely, quiet, dark place, it sounds like.
But I don't think I ever considered, who do I talk to about this? I didn't, it never really...
It didn't seem like an option at the time.
No.
Yeah, that makes me feel sad.
I just went through.
Yeah, it makes me feel sad to know that you went through that. And, to know that you're not alone in that. There would be another, however many teenage girls going through a very similar thing to what you went through. So it's a lot. And how long did this happen for?
I would say probably early 20s. Wow. So maybe like 21.
So a good 5 years at least.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And
that's a long
that,
time.
Because I think from the age of 13.
Yeah.
I definitely suffered from self-confidence. It's like you get over one aspect, then someone else comments on your nose, then you start thinking,
and then
shit.
I've got a big nose, I've got big lips.
Exactly. Then you get over the nose bit. Okay, I think I've come to terms with my nose, and then someone's like
something else. So it's the bum you said you didn't like, and everything else.
So it's like you heal from one thing, and then it's like, oh snap. When someone points it out, you may have been fine with your round button nose, but the minute someone points it out to say, right, your nose is quite round, you actually have quite a round nose, then you start to realize, you look in the mirror, and all of a sudden that day everything changes.
Like, I can definitely relate to what you're saying. I mean, it's no secret, I have a very big forehead. See, people say I don't think you do. Me and my family kind of, we have this forehead going on, but mine, I think mine and one sister or two,
what they say about girls with big foreheads.
Oh, what do they say?
Faces.
Well.
Like Rihanna.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, that's true. There's Tyra Banks. Yes. And only as I got older, I started to be honest, very recently started to accept my forehead. And now I'm tying my hair back. I would do everything to cover this forehead. And bangs, I never, bangs, everything. Side fringes, weaves, wigs. And actually, I never realised I had a big forehead until...
I honestly don't see it.
But do you not? Okay.
No,
I still feel like it's just huge. But whilst I still feel that it's huge, I feel like I'm just saying, you know what, I'm going to strip back and be me. I don't care.
Yeah. Right.
But I actually, speaking of, like, you thought your nose was okay until someone points it out.
Yeah.
I didn't know I had a big forehead until one day at school. I'm in the same situation as you. I came to this country at the tender age of 10.
Wow,
I joined the school the same as you. I think there's, this is probably a topic for a discussion for a different day.
Exactly.
Because there's so many similarities in some of the stuff that you're saying in terms of joining and coming to a different country, joining a school that was predominantly white. I was teased about my forehead, but people wouldn't, this is an audio, so it's not as if you can see, so I'll try and describe the action. Guys would come to me and take their palm of their hand and sweep it across their heads upwards to make a sign of a big forehead. And that was what I was known as. So I was known as the that action, the movement, the sweep of the forehead. And that's what they refer to me as. So they'll walk past me and do the sweep of the hand and not even say my name, but I know they're talking about me. So I was so paranoid, and that was the start of me realizing I had a big forehead. And so I can relate to what you're saying about not knowing something is wrong, and it's not actually even wrong, but
it's not knowing. I mean, yeah, exactly. It's not that it's wrong, but the fact that I think it's to do with, and it's not only to do with physical aspects, but if you have something you're battling with inside, and someone points that out, it works as some sort of confirmation as to, I kind of was thinking that, and someone's confirmed it, so now it's valid. And it may just be one person's opinion. Yeah. It's like negative comments. You could be reading through, so many positive comments. I'm sure it's what celebrities go through
all the time.
All the time. You're reading through so many positive comments, but the minute that one negative person says, you know what, you ain't all that. Yeah. That can resonate deeply within you to say, right, I actually think of myself as not being all that, and that person has just
confirmed it. Yeah.
So it's that confirmation of an initial feeling you had but you brushed away. Yeah. When someone confirms it, boom. Yeah. It heightens the insecurity. Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. And then when you start to be insecure, certain behaviors start to become apparent sometimes when we don't even know that they're apparent.
Exactly. So talking down on other girls. I don't think she's all that. Why is she dressed like that?
So you start to mirror this behavior.
Why is she wearing that bag? Why does it bother you? Why do you feel the need? And I'm guilty of it, and still, I'd say I'm more of a confident person, definitely. I have embraced who I am. But why do women, why do we have to feel a need to comment as to the way somebody else's hair is, or the way someone else? That's an underlying, by making those comments, it's just showing that, actually you have some issues.
Sometimes we're acting out what we see in ourselves. And we also mirror bad behavior. When somebody does it to us, we then start to do it to somebody else. It's like the whole thing of sometimes somebody acts like a bully because they've been bullied. Exactly. And then it's a cycle, isn't it?
Exactly. Yeah, it's a cycle.
So I just want to go back to your you said it was a long time until about your early 20s, 2021. At the beginning you talked about your eating disorder. You're eating once a day. What did that do to your body?
I mean, I lost a lot of weight, so it wasn't really much how I looked. It was more so numbers. What are the scales saying? So I had a huge obsession with stepping on the scale and, trying to be 57 or 62 or 65 kg. That range was my ideal weight. But I remember thinking, I just want to be 57 kgs. And the thing is, when you're 16, although women, girls rather, we tend to grow quick, way quicker than men. And by the age of 14, you already have your boobs developing and your body changing. But you're actually not fully developed. You may think you are,
but you're not.
Because in your 20s your curves start to come a certain way, and even now that I'm heading to 30, I see my body's still
your body's changing. Your body's even from the last time I saw you. I think it's been a minute since we've seen each other, and I know you've been working out, and I know that you're just living life, a healthy lifestyle as well. And your body's changed. You're now like curvaceous. You always were. Well, I wouldn't say always, but obviously from the time we were sort of, say partying or whatever, to now, your body has completely changed. And like you said, it's life evolves, our bodies change.
Exactly. But so why should you try and hold on to being 57 kgs? Why should you? And it's fighting the aging process. Human beings, we do that. So Botox injections, if you're getting wrinkles and you just want that tight skin, or but sometimes with age, it's just good as well to age gracefully, you know, and sometimes it's a more healthier look.
Yeah, you know what? I love aging, and whenever I say this, people look at me and be like, "No, you don't." I'm like, I actually love aging. I love aging.
It's like fine wine, babe.
It is like, thank you. It is like fine wine, and you know, the older I get, the more comfortable I feel in my skin, the more I'm happy with the decisions I'm making. I just feel like a free woman. I don't care about the little things I cared about when I was younger, about what people think, and all of those things just don't matter to me anymore. And even like with graying, I've got 2 grey hairs at the side of my head that I noticed the other day.
Oh, wow.
I was excited, and I actually looked at the Bible, and I said, I didn't look at it at the time, but I know about this Bible quote where it says, the grey hair is a crown of glory.
Yeah.
And it really is. I feel like it is. I honour my grey hair because I've lived all these years.
Yeah.
And I'm, hopefully, by the grace of God, I have more years to live. And I'm just excited about the aging process, and everything is brand new. You know, you don't know what's going to happen to you the next day, what's going to happen the next year. And it's just it's exciting for me. The future is exciting, even if I don't know what the future holds.
And you used to, you know, you're talking about, you noticed the grey hair, and I love this natural hair that
Thank
you're rocking.
you.
So I remember you as being someone who, you know, would always constantly change your hair. You know, you always had, like, you've done all the hairstyles in the books.
All of them.
Every single hairstyle, you've done it. What made you settle into being natural and just rocking your own hair?
Yeah.
From being that.
I was this girl that, I don't know, I guess with little things like the hiding of the forehead and all this stuff, and, you know, I've masked it well and stuff like that. But what's made me change? Being a mother. Being a mother. When I became a mom, everything fell into perspective. Everything made sense. My reason to do certain things, you know, and also to empower that little girl. And not just that little girl, but I'm also an auntie. And, you know, I have nieces and I have nephews, and just being able to show them what a true woman is, what a true person is, the real you, trying to empower them and teach them that, you know what, you don't have to try and be something else, try and be someone else. I used to relax my hair like every 2 weeks, and you know that's not healthy. My hair started to become, yes, exactly, it started to become quite thin and all that stuff, but I needed to have that straight hair. I needed to have, you know, not the afro kinks showing and everything. But since becoming a mother, I would say that it's changed me. I trained as a counsellor and psychotherapist, and that taught me a lot. It was a journey. I had never spoken about my life before. I'd never spoken about a lot of any issues I may have grown up with. Never, ever, ever. And I started to just uncover them in counselling, and all that stuff made me go back to the real me and say, I love myself and I appreciate myself, and I understand why I did the things I did, why I became the person that I was at the time, who I've become today. And all those things put together have just made me want to be me, want to be natural. Yeah.
That's amazing. I think it looks really good.
Thank you.
It looks really good.
Thank you. So, back to you. Tell me more. I mean, I'm intrigued by your story.
Yeah, so we've touched on the, you know, self-esteem being, you know, one's self-evaluation, you know, and trying to grow into yourself. So, you know, I've touched on the issues that I struggled with during my teen years, and even during my childhood, you know. So having touched on that, you know, I have to think of, like, you know, how did I come out of that? How did my self-esteem affect other issues in my life? So I didn't make the best decisions in terms of dating. Because I had low self-esteem. I think it definitely affected my choice of men.
In what way?
Because, you know, it's back to the thing of people will treat you how you allow them to treat you. So if you're not confident in yourself, you know, I feel it's important to be a strong being, in the sense that if someone, you have to have personality, you have to have character, you have to have things that would drive someone to you. So my low self-esteem affected my dating life in terms of, because I had low self-esteem, it meant that I wasn't making the right choices in terms of who I date.
And it sounds like you were not valuing yourself.
I wasn't valuing myself. I've always been a good girl. And if I look at my first relationship and who I dated and how he used to talk to me and how I allowed him to talk to me, or the voices he put in my head, or how he heightened my insecurities, all that was a result of me not thinking I'm good enough and I'm worthy. Because I didn't love myself, nobody was going to love me.
Yeah, okay, so you allowed somebody to treat you in that negative way.
Exactly.
Because you were not worthy.
Yeah. Because that's just how you see yourself. So it definitely affected my choices, when it came to dating. And I would also say, in terms of false friendships, I never had real friendships growing up, because it was more so trying to be with the popular crowd, and not down to personality traits.
And you carried that through to an older age.
Exactly. I never saw personality as something important. It was more so, who's the pretty girl here? Who can I be friends with? So personality traits didn't play anything. So what actually did my friends bring to the table? Nothing. To me. Maybe to themselves
to
as
other
a group.
people, yeah,
they may have, but to me at the time, no. Because
and you're only with them for that popularity thing.
Exactly.
And not because you value their input, their friendship, their this and whatever else people are supposed to bring to the table in relationships, both ways. Yeah.
And I'd also say the third factor is not having a strong relationship with God. As a Christian, I'm a Christian, so I can only speak from myself being a Christian and identifying as a Christian. But I feel not having a strong relationship with God, religion is a discipline. I don't really look at it as being religious, but it's more so spiritual, my spiritual relationship with God. Because I was far away from him during these times, it just meant that a lot of issues heightened within myself. Having an outlet, someone, a higher source that you can just meditate and let go. This God, this is what I'm facing today. I have an interview, please give me, even the Bible speaks of praying for the gift of being able to speak wisdom. It's a gift.
Absolutely.
So praying before interviews, if you suffer from self-confidence and whatnot, and adapting that into my life, definitely.
And it's that kind of thing where when you pray and you believe and it's well, it's done. And not having that, because sometimes you can have nobody as a Christian, speaking as a Christian right now, you can have nobody, but when you kneel down in your room and you pray to God and you believe that he will give you that interview, or he will help you, carry you through it.
Exactly.
And then that's what you need.
That's it, exactly.
Yeah.
And I'll say another thing is self-affirmations. So this is something I learned through watching Mary Jane.
Okay.
But I loved the concept of it, and I know it's not new, but I just fell in love with that concept of having little sticky notes on my mirror. I never ever affirmed anything to myself, but the Bible speaks of the power of the tongue. So absolutely. What you profess with your tongue, it manifests it. Words have power. So if you start the day saying, I'm really not pretty, I don't think I'm going to do well today, I think I'm going to fail this test, you've already set yourself up for
absolutely, because your body is already feeling
you start
low,
to get anxious,
feeling negative,
your stomach, you start to feel pains in your stomach, now you're sick, now you can't even perform well, you set yourself up. But if your
demeanor changes.
It changes. If you go in feeling confident, today I'm going to smash this test, I've done my reading, I've tried my hardest, now it's time for God to do his part, but I've tried my hardest, it enhances, everything just changes. You will probably do well in that test. So
I agree with you.
Yeah. So, you know, to touch on that, I think what really changed me was, you know, probably building a relationship with God. That was a huge change, because when you pray and you release and you say, right, I'm struggling with A, B, C, D, E, just a higher source, you know, whatever your religion is or whatever, I think just having acknowledgement of that higher source to say, I cannot do this on my own, I need help.
Yeah.
And even if that higher source is not God, you know, if it's someone that you can speak to, you know, by all means, I think that's important. So that's number one, because that's a confession on my part that, you know, my flesh is weak and I need help. So that's what helped me overcome these issues. The second thing I would say that helped me to overcome this my self-esteem issues is I wanted to do well in law school, because I started university at 21. I didn't start at 18, so I had no time to waste. And I just really wanted to do well. So surrounding myself with individuals who were determined, that you form study groups, and it's no longer the pretty girl group who I didn't benefit anything from. Yeah. I didn't realize at the time what that would do to my life, but I just wanted to do well with my exams. I thought, you know, if it's one thing, let me try my best with this degree. And because I surrounded myself with a certain group of people,
with positive people,
to the power of association, you know, I ended up graduating with the first class.
Yes, congratulations. You're a smart cookie. Proud of you, girl. Proud of you.
So, you know, and then realizing that, hold on, from that, you know, your confidence is now building, because you know, your relationship with God is on point, and, you know, grades are shooting up. And then, you know, just being around people that say, oh, you know what, Michelle, actually, yeah, you're a pretty girl, you know. Then you get a boost of confidence. Hold on, my acne has actually cleared, and, you know, and my teeth are straight because I had braces, so my teeth are now straight. People are complimenting me. Oh, you have a beautiful smile.
Yeah, and that's back to the thing you said earlier of, you know, something you thought inside yourself, and somebody says, actually, you have a big nose. And then again, you may have thought maybe somewhere, I'm not actually ugly. And then somebody says that, and, you know, wow. Okay,
exactly.
Maybe I'm not ugly. So it's the full circle has gone round now, from the ugly girl in the school to the girl who's actually getting these compliments.
Yeah.
How did that feel for you for the first time starting to receive those compliments?
Mind-blowing, and sometimes I would be so big-headed about it.
Okay. So not humble.
No, not humble.
Not after what you'd been through.
Yeah, bring those compliments, please.
Okay.
Yeah. No, not humble at all. I mean, it was mind-blowing. I mean, people saying you have a beautiful smile, being that I had to wear braces for 3 years, had a prolonged treatment. I had impacted teeth, one growing on top of the other. So, you know, someone then saying, you have a beautiful smile. And not one person says it, a second person says it, a third person says
Amazing.
It confirms
and it was
it.
What you needed after what you had been through for all those years.
It was definitely what I needed. And then, you know, as I had acne, when I used to battle acne, and I would try different things. I would put washing powder on my spots.
Really?
Toothpaste, different things. As I used to battle acne, it eventually cleared over time. You know, I would drink 2 liters of water a day, or at least try. But with age, these things clear.
Yep.
And I think having people, back to the positive voices of someone saying, wow, you have really good skin, from something you battled, and someone saying today that your skin is glowing, like, what products do you use? You know, it's those positive voices really that help boost my confidence. And you know, at some point, wanting to be Michelle the individual, and strongly wanting to fight for that, it felt right at about 21 to kind of develop my own fashion sense. I was a tomboy, you know, having a twin brother, growing up in a neighborhood that was predominantly full of boys. I was a natural tomboy, so wanting to develop into Michelle the lady.
Yes. I think from the time that we started to hang out, like when you were, I guess, old enough to party with us and stuff, you always had this fashion sense. So I think at that time you were coming towards the the stage of where you started to come into yourself.
Yeah.
And feel like a confident, attractive woman, young woman. Because I've always known you to be this stylish, glamorous, girl that's just oozing beauty and girls want to be like. So I think, so it's interesting for me to hear that what you went through before that, and you came through it, and you're who you are today.
Exactly. And it's back to, but you say I had that fashion sense. At the time, it wasn't an invented fashion sense. It was very copied. So if you look on my blog, the very first posts were get Kim Kardashian's look for less. Get Rihanna's look for
Actually,
less.
I remember that. There was a time when you were wearing identical clothes to the stars and actually making comparison photos and getting the outfit. Yes, I remember that.
Get the outfit for less. And that kind of taught me how to dress as well. Yeah. So what is Kim Kardashian wearing? But how can I get that from H&M? And so by dressing in that way, the day-to-day person would say, wow, you look good. But actually, I've copied from the Kim Kardashian style is probably one of the world's...
So it gave you something.
Exactly.
So, whilst you were trying to be someone else, you were still learning from it.
Exactly. For different elements from different people, It could be someone's hair that I like or whatever. And, adapting that into my lifestyle because I really lacked. And then today I can say that I have developed my own fashion sense. Through that, I can definitely say that I am 100% accepting of who I am. And, before I would be on Google spending hours how to get rid of stretch marks. We have stretch marks on my butt, on my thighs.
Those things that we have through growing, through having certain booties.
Exactly. How do I get rid of stretch marks? But today I love my stretch marks.
Good for you, girl.
I love my stretch marks. And then also when you date someone who actually says, what, I love your stretch. They don't even look at that.
Yeah.
And it's back to the thing of self-esteem. You attract what you are.
Yeah.
So if I'm in a place where I hate my stretch marks, I hate my body, I hate, who am I going to attract in that state of negativity? But I'm going to attract a guy who's going to tell me, and this happened before, I won't say no names, but someone saying you have schoolgirl boobs. So you attract.
Wow.
Yeah, you attract what you think you are.
How old were you when you heard those comments?
Probably 17, 18.
And that's the stage where you're developing, you're changing, and to be told you have schoolgirl boobs, that's not
18,
something.
19. Exactly.
That's not. And at 18, 19, some girls have already developed everything. And it's not something that anybody should have to hear, whether you're, whoever you are. That was very wrong. Whoever you are, whatever you said, I hope you've changed, and I hope you'll hear this. Because Michelle is a strong, powerful woman today. Exactly. Just thought I'd put that out there.
Exactly. So, listening to all these things, and also, but then when your life changes, and then you're more of this confident person, you're positive, it's back to the attraction element of, you attract what you are. So the type of guy you're going to attract is you'd be like, oh babe, do you think don't be silly. I love your stretch marks. Your stretch marks are beautiful.
They're part of you.
They're part of you, A natural woman has stretch marks.
Yes.
So you have a guy that will be shutting everything down, all the things that, do you think that my love handle? No, I love your love handles. That's the best feature. You see, so you attract what you are, really.
And that empowers you. So do you think it's important, with everything that we've said today, it's important for us to tell people good things, point out to people if we see somebody and we think that, that's not to say go out in the streets and start talking to strangers, because if you want to there, but like if you're even within your circle, at work, wherever, it's important to, if you see somebody and you think they look absolutely beautiful, or you like their outfit, you like something about their hair, is it important to actually let them know?
Exactly. And I feel like compliments should be genuine.
Absolutely.
No shade necessary. You know what I'm saying? If you genuinely think that someone's hairstyle is popping, tell them.
Why not tell them?
And as women, you know, we're constantly competing against each other, you know, instead of empowering
Exactly.
each other. So
I've heard this thing, sorry to interrupt you, but I've heard this thing where people have said, oh, you know, there's no point telling her, you know, she looks nice. She already knows it and she's probably big-headed about it. But we don't know their journey. We don't know what's truly going on underneath. And so what if they do know they're beautiful? Does it hurt for you to acknowledge it?
Yeah. Or I've also heard this thing where she looks nice all the time. No point in complimenting.
Well, I'm sure she looks nice because she's making herself look nice.
Exactly. You
So
know,
why not acknowledge it?
It's an effort as well, you know. So exactly, why not acknowledge it? And I'm one, honestly, I feel you have to find something positive because everybody has their different attributes. Someone may be fashionable, someone may have a good sense of humor, you know, but it's important to empower each other and definitely pick up on, you know, each other's positive attributes and complement that, because that just spreads positivity. It's important. We live in such a negative climate that if we imagine what it would be like if the world just spread positivity.
Oh my.
So,
It would be great.
exactly.
It would be wonderful, but unfortunately that's not the world we live in. But so
Yeah.
us that can acknowledge it right now, us that are able to say, you know what, I can identify the situation, I've been there, and somebody else, I can see they're going through that, or they may have gone through that.
Yeah,
Why not then try and do something to help them
exactly.
get through it?
And by doing that, you're building yourself more. It doesn't take from you.
It
to
feels
pass
good,
yeah,
you know?
Exactly. To pass a positive comment, it doesn't take
anything
from
away.
you.
No.
But in fact, what it does, it builds you. It builds your networks. It builds your friendships. It builds because people would think like, wow, I want to be like her. She's always positive. So
Yeah.
it really does build.
I've learned from positive people, and some of my positivity has come from people actually being positive and people being open with me. And I find I'm the kind of person that if somebody's open with me, I want to be open with them.
Exactly.
I want to, if they're telling me about their problems, let's share.
Let's share.
You know,
exactly.
let's share. I can tell you about mine too. Maybe you can find strength in my problems. Maybe I can find strength in yours. So I like the whole sharing thing. For me, it
Yeah.
carries a lot
No,
of
definitely.
weight.
But unfortunately, not everybody is like that. And I don't know if it's back to self-esteem issues, because you may be willing to share with an individual, you know, certain depressing moments you may have or whatever, and that individual may never ever share any downfall in their life or anything, but when it comes to a positive highlight, they're quick to share it.
That's true.
You know,
But
and
yeah.
that's the world we live in, and that's why it's back to the social media and self-esteem. How actually being on social media can affect your self-esteem. I think the social media sometimes is actually healthy to step back and detox. You need the same way you detox on your body, you need a social media detox. Exactly. And that detox entails, you know, being able to step out of it, because what social media is everybody's highlight reel. Nobody is posting the time that they were in hospital on holiday. On that very same holiday trip, they're posting bikini pictures. They're not posting the time that they had a fight with their boyfriend.
Exactly. It's what they want us to see.
Exactly. It's, you know, so
And
you're
that's
not
not-
posting. You're not posting your bank statement. You're posting the Range Rover that you got on credit.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. And you know, that's not realistic. That's not real life. And that's why I think being real is so important for everyone.
For everybody, and we live in such a fake climate. Sorry to say.
And that causes people to want to be like the people that are posting this Range Rover and not their bank statement, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
It makes us want to, not us, because I'm not in that place in my life, but it makes people want to be like, wow, you know, compete with that person. This person has got everything. He's got the girl, he's got the car, he's got the looks. And yet that's not realistic. That's not really your life.
So that's the thing about, you know, the self-esteem and why comparison is so dangerous. I really want to touch on that.
Absolutely.
You know, when you compare yourself to someone else and you compare yourself to someone else's highlight reel, you do not know what is going on.
You don't know what's truly going on in their lives.
No.
Exactly. And also comparison is dangerous because
It's a thief of joy.
yes, absolutely. And we can't be what we're not. We can't be what we're not destined to be.
No.
We can create our own destiny through the things that we do. It's like you saying this person's father was rich and that's all he lived by. But he could have created his own destiny.
Exactly.
You know, and I just think it's so dangerous because we can never be someone else. We can never have someone else's life.
No. And when you compare yourself with someone, what it effectively does is that it's like running a race. You know, two people on a treadmill or swimming. You know, you have two lanes. You know, when you turn to look into someone else's lane, it distracts you.
You're slowing yourself
You're
down.
slowing yourself down. If you wasn't worried about how far the other brother was getting in his lane, you would have overtook him because you would have had the right body position, posture, everything to win the race. But because you're so concerned, you keep looking back, you keep looking sideways. What is he doing? You keep, you lose the race.
Absolutely.
So the biggest lesson ever is stay in your lane. Like, I look back and I'm happy for the mistakes I've made.
You learn from them,
I've learned
don't
from
you?
them. But I've also said, like, wow, how powerful would you have been had you believed in your purpose from the get-go? Had you stayed in your lane, you wasn't watching what the other sister is doing, what bag she's wearing, the other guy in the class, what job he's got, what opportunity. You're not worried about no one. You're just staying in your lane. Absolutely.
I get your point, but on that one, I think that I'm not convinced that somebody would be as powerful had they stayed in their lane from the beginning. Okay. I think it takes sometimes life's experiences to shape and mold us into the woman that we become. Because of for example, all the things that you went through as a child, the low self-esteem, the trying to fit in, the eating disorders and everything else, the being told you're ugly, to the point where the whole journey to today. Had you not gone through all of that, I don't believe you would have had the strength that you have today and the self-empowerment to tell yourself that I will never let myself get back to that, and also to be able to empower other young women that may be going through the same thing. You wouldn't have had that story to tell.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with you, actually, because it's all hindsight, really. Looking back, what could I have done better? Where did I go wrong? I wouldn't exactly what you said. I wouldn't have that story to tell. So and
I tend to try to live without regret, and sometimes your past can be painful. The thought of your past can be painful. It really can. And
like, why the hell did
I go through
that?
this? Yes, I know. Absolutely. But
hate myself the things I've done.
Wow, there you go. So but you learn. And for me, it's so important that to have been through things, and what's made me the woman that I am today is all my experiences. Everything I've been through has just given me something that I've taken with me and taken with me along the way. I've picked up, and I'll still be picking up going forward. And today I feel like I'm the strongest I've ever been, but I know that there is still, life goes up and down. Life is still going to be a roller coaster.
Definitely.
But because I've picked up all these things from the past, they've all strengthened me to who I am today. I'm grateful for those things, because I wouldn't have been able to be the person that I am.
I completely see where you're coming from, and I agree.
Okay, I just wanted to ask you something. Actually, I want to say a couple of things first. I was really happy when you started to say, I went to law school and started to get people that were positive. I just felt this empowerment. I felt like I was you, and I imagined myself going into school going, you know what, I am going into school with a mission. I'm leaving behind all the rubbish. I'm leaving behind all the trying to fit in with girls. I'm going to pick my circle. And that's the start of strength for me. I'm going to empower myself and surround myself with positive people. And for me, that's so important in my life, to surround myself with positive people.
100%, yeah.
I've got rid of so many people in my life.
Yeah, chop them off.
Love them from a distance. Yes, clip, chop, chop, chop. Love them from a distance. Not that I hate them, not that I dislike them. I just need to know that my inner circle, as well as my outer circle, needs to have strength.
Right.
It needs to be positive, needs to give me something, and I need to give them something. It's a partnership.
Yeah, no, definitely.
So I'm really happy that you finally, by your own choice, by your own admission, went in saying, right, I mean business. when you came out with your first.
Exactly, and it was also circumstances around the time that led to me making that decision to say, right, I mean business. I had come into the UK, I was on a dependent visa. Things were tight, you know, so when I finished my A-levels at 18, due to my papers situation, I do have a British passport, if I may say that. Due to my paper situation at the time, you know, having been on a dependent visa, it just meant I was limited. My parents didn't have that money to pay for my university outright. So I had to work.
I can relate to that.
3 years. I had to wait from 18 to 21. By the time I started university, that even was knocking my self-esteem more, because it's like, whoa, all my friends are graduating.
Because actually what you said earlier,
I'm only starting.
Yeah.
Everybody's graduating, but because of my papers, I had to wait.
you had to wait.
It does something to you
Yeah,
sometimes.
because it's giving you fire.
It's giving you fire. Like, I ain't got no time to play.
Yeah.
These people are here to play, and having that fire meant by the time I got into university, I just knew I have no time to waste.
Yeah, because you're going to be in your mid-20s otherwise, with nothing.
With nothing.
And already coming through this place of feeling like you're not as good as everyone else, and suddenly, oh, I'm definitely not as good. I'm not achieving.
Exactly,
I'm not this,
that's
and I'm not
even
that.
worse, because it's now, okay, when they do graduate, they find jobs, and I ain't even started. You see, so it also affects. At the time, it affected my relationships with certain people, because I didn't want to be explaining the university thing. I'm waiting on my papers.
I remember this at the time. You told me about it.
Exactly.
Actually, so
the wait gives you the fire, and I knew I have no time to waste. Right. Who are the boffins up in here?
Yes. No, who are the pretty girls?
No,
you know, because you're a pretty girl, and you later came to learn that.
Yeah.
And that's good. But yeah, who are the boffins up in
Who
here?
are the boffins?
Yeah.
I'm gonna be friends. I already know that I could get the pretty girls on my team.
Yeah, and I can
I
guarantee
can
you.
get the boffins on my team.
Yeah, there we go. And yeah, exactly. You had those people skills, and I can guarantee you, whether you know it or you don't, those boffins that you went out seeking, you gave them something too. You taught them. You gave them a bit of Shelly, you know, and I'm sure you carried each other. So I'm proud of you for making that transition, you know.
Oh, thank you.
Well done. I just wanted to ask as well, I want you to go back for a second to that 16-year-old girl. Just have a think for a second. What would you say to yourself as that 16-year-old Shelly? What advice would you give yourself? What would you say to yourself, maybe to comfort yourself?
I think if I could go back to that 16-year-old self, is things are not going to be the way they are forever.
Okay, so sorry, let me just interrupt you for a second. I don't want you to go back to being the 16-year-old girl.
Okay.
I want you to be you.
To be me.
And I would like you to speak to that 16-year-old girl as the woman Shelly that you are today.
Okay. So speaking to my 16-year-old self, I would say, you know, don't worry so much. And as hard as that may sound, because in life you do worry. But, you know, I would speak to myself and say, you know, don't worry so much. Everything will work out. You know, all you have to do is be you. You know, be the best version of you that you could possibly be. Don't try and be someone else. You do not know what they're going through. You do not know their story. Don't try and be someone else. Just be yourself. Stay in your lane. You know, that's number one. Number two is seek things that will empower you. So for me, right now, I'm so into audiobooks. I'm listening to so many audiobooks that empower me mentally. I'm very aware of what I listen to as well. So if I could go back to my 16-year-old self, I would say, keep yourself informed. You know, understand other people's struggles. Understand it's never too late or too early to learn. You know.
Oh, absolutely.
Exactly.
We're going to be learning for the rest of our lives.
Yeah, and had I had these lessons, because by someone's audiobook, it's, you know, if it's a story of their life, they are giving you a story of what they went through. You know, I would tell that 16-year-old self, fill yourself with positive, be aware of what you fill yourself with, because if you fill yourself with positivity and you fill yourself with lessons from other people and empowerment that you get from reading, from keeping informed, it strengthens your character. And character is everything.
Character is everything.
You know, I would tell that 16-year-old self, do not worry about boys. Don't try and worry so much about who likes me, who doesn't like me. Why don't they like me? Am I not good enough?
We're all human beings after all.
But Beyonce said it. To the left, to the left. Yeah. If you don't like me, somebody else, guess what? Somebody else will.
Yeah.
Okay?
Somebody else will. To the left.
Yeah. So
that's very true, and I agree.
To worry. What's out of your control, you can't have control over. So if you're from a broken family and certain things are out of your control, you did nothing wrong. You tried as a person to amend certain relationships.
And you might find strength in that.
You might find strength in that. And sometimes those broken relationships within your family can affect your confidence. But guess what? There's a sister elsewhere. Just like the way you are a cousin and a sister to me. I can find a sister elsewhere. You know, it's certain family members can be negative for you to have around you. Certain friends can be negative, and it's your judgment call to say, right, how can I expect to be a positive person if I surround myself with negativity? So it's up to you to start to eliminate and cut people off. Learn to love people from a distance. Learn to stand your ground. So I think those are the things I would tell my 16-year-old self. And definitely that, you know, girl, it's popping. You know, your booty is popping, your lips is popping, everything is popping.
Yeah, good for you. Good for you. I'm glad you've got those wise words for your young self.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's popping.
Good.
Embrace it, because guess what? One day it will be a trend. And everybody's gonna want the booty, the lips. So just embrace who you are. You know, that's it.
Thank you. So just to, I guess one final question. What has changing done for you?
Say that again.
What has changing? What has it done for you as a woman?
As a woman, right.
As a human being.
I mean, changing has definitely done a lot of things for me, because if I break it down into my career, changing my mental state allowed me to graduate from university, to have a law degree, to go further and say, right, I have this confidence from having a law degree. Can I get a master's? You know, can I get a master's in corporate governance law? Having that opportunity to get a master's in corporate governance law and, you know, become grad ICSA, and then move on to say,
well, of course you did your master's, didn't you?
Yeah. Can I get a job as a chartered secretary in corporate governance role, because that's my role, and landing that job within a very short space of time.
I remember this. This was all the good news that was happening for you, wasn't it?
Exactly. I started, you know, at 21. You know, and I was finished my master's by like 25, 26.
Amazing.
So, you know, that's what, you know, changing has done. It's made me accomplished, because I'm living a real life. When you walk in your truth, ain't nobody can stop you.
It's true.
So that's number one. Number two, I stopped looking at other relationships. Okay, yeah, you know what? I do this for my girlfriend, and yeah, my boyfriend did. I stopped looking at other relationships. Focus on me. On you. What do I want out of a relationship? And, you know, I'm at a very positive place where I can honestly say I'm having the best, you know, I don't know what time holds, but I'm in a very good relationship, you know, a great relationship. And I'm happy for you. Thank you. You deserve to be in this good relationship. I'm with someone who's like, you know, all them useless people, sorry to say, I shouldn't really say that, but you know, it's more so like I mean, all I can say is that I'm happy that you're in a happy relationship after being told that you have schoolgirl boobs. Yeah, exactly. So and we can, and it's more so, you know, like someone who you don't have to chase, someone who is able to follow up and say, I get surprised sometimes. I'm like, damn, I told you about this 3 weeks ago and you remember. Someone who's able to follow up, oh, babes, I know you said you have this and this going on. How did it go? And you're like, geez, I'm not used to that.
Really? What, you remember? Yeah.
Really good relationship and just absorbing that in. And that's what being confident has done for me, because it's made me attract what I think of myself. If I value myself, I know that I cannot be with a certain type of guy. I cannot be devalued.
Yeah.
So relationship wise, that's what it's done. Career wise, that's what it's done. And I'd also say, just in terms of helping other people as well. You know, I have nieces that I want them to look up to me and say, right, I want to be like Auntie Michelle. I want to talk to people the way Auntie Michelle talks to people.
And you know, this whole empowering our family, our friends, our close ones is my whole ethos, really, because I believe that charity begins at home. And it's not that this is charity, but you know, it's that we try and sometimes reach out to people. Sometimes we talk about, oh, we're going to do some charity work one day. I need to find a good charity to support. I need to find someone who I can help. When yet the people, the passenger in your car is going through something and you don't know. And you're not trying to help them. Your niece and your sister, your brother, your uncle is going through something and you don't know, and you're not trying to help them. So sometimes you're going too far out to try and help somebody. Don't get me wrong, it's good to go and help whoever you can. But empowerment starts at home, you know?
It definitely starts at home, but it's and I agree with you on that. But I think it's back to the points that we touched on earlier, as to generational problems,
Dynamics and relationships. Absolutely.
And the fact that our type of settings, you know, the African household type of settings, people tend to be secretive.
Absolutely, and that is the thing that I am trying to breach right now.
Yeah.
I'm trying to break through that barrier, and that's what I'm hoping to achieve. And it's difficult because we're very secretive from our backgrounds, from our culture, and we don't tell each other things.
Don't tell someone that, you know, I'm going through X, Y, Z, and that's why there's a lot of mental illness.
Absolutely. We're strong, powerful women. We're told that's what we are. You have to cope. You cannot go through this postnatal depression. You cannot go through, you know, these illnesses that are supposed to be just those that happen in westernized cultures. And that's not my thoughts. That is what I've heard. This is what's come from our culture, our society back, you know. And I'm trying to break through those barriers and get people talking. And for me, that's hopefully, if I can get one person talking, that's something.
No, definitely.
And one person hearing it.
Definitely. I think that's very important, because you never know, you know, how speaking about things, when someone's open about something, to say, hold on, I've been through X, Y, Z. It's like the Trevor Noah book, Born a Crime. You know, I won't go into that's a topic for another day, but briefly to touch on that, you know, there's a lot of elements in that book that deeply I could identify with and say, rah, I went through that. But through all those experiences, that's the importance of sharing your story, because there will be someone who can identify. Like for me, I could identify and say, hold on, what Trevor is talking about here, I kind of went through that, you know. But by speaking about things, it helps people to say, right, actually, I'm not alone in what I'm going through. And you know, if a 16-year-old who is going through something can listen to this and say, right, one day it will be okay. That's great.
Absolutely. Thank you, Shelly. I'm so glad you joined me here today. This has been insightful.
Oh my God.
So I would like to cheers to us.
Cheers. Clang, clang.
Clang, clang.
And honestly, it's been very therapeutic for me to be talking about this. I didn't even realize it would.
Okay.
Because it helps me go back to time. So thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. And have you ever gone back to this time and really analysed it or reviewed it the way that you have?
Honestly, no.
Today.
Because life is constantly moving. You have to get up. We live in a very fast-paced city. London is very fast-paced. And also a very fast-paced society in general. So it's more so having the time to think back and say, hold on. Oh, I actually suffered from, I did suffer from that. But why was it an issue? And delving deep. to me, this is therapy. So thank you.
I'm so glad that you've said that, because for me, therapy is such an important thing, and I feel like it should be a part of everyone's life, because whilst we don't know we're going through things, or we forget we're going through certain things, it teaches us, you know, it really takes us to a place of, and there's not many times in our lives that we get to sit down and analyze our own lives and actually review what we've been through and connect it to what we may be going through today and what we may go through in our future and what our children may go through. Exactly. So for me, I'm glad that you've said that it's been therapeutic for you. So thanks. One more thing that you mentioned earlier was your blog. Is your blog still running?
Yes, it is. It is. It is.
Is it something you would like to announce or not?
Well, I will announce it. Starsinthetrap.com. So that's stars, STARZ, and then in the trap. So INTHE and then trap.com. So yeah, it's just a fashion blog where I post my fashion interests. I'm very passionate about, you know, different fashion trends and whatnot. I'm not so active on it, but I definitely plan on picking it back up. Yeah.
So if you like what you've heard today, take a look at Shelly's blog, share this, listen to it.
Yes.
You know, I hope you've taken something from it. Emotional and mental justice. Thank you. Good night.
Thank you guys. Good night.
We all have emotions and think about things. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about